Hey everybody, welcome, good morning. Good morning on the West Coast, good morning on the East Coast. I'm Jenny Ann Chondo. If you've never been here for the show, this is basically an at-home fitness show. Each week we do a different style of workout. This week it is yoga with Amanda Markland. She is a yoga instructor here in the Indianapolis area. So welcome to the show. I'm so excited that you're here, and
this is fun.
I have to tell you, this is going to be a little bit interesting because you guys, I've gone to her class a few times at a studio. I'm by no means a regular yogi, but I love to go. And the memorable moment with you when I was like, okay, I've got to have her come on the show or something, was when we were doing something and she says, "Now put your leg on like a backpack." I was like, what?
On like a backpack.
What is she talking about?
Yeah.
So anyway, you're super, super flexy and bendy, and you guys are going to be impressed by her. A couple quick updates before we get to the workout. You'll notice that Josh, our man Josh, who has been here from the start, is not going to be training with us anymore. So I want to explain everything that happened with that, because I know some of you have kind of grown close to him through seeing him through the show and everything like that, and have been really supportive. So I want to let you know what happened with that, and we'll do that after the workout, and talk about a couple other things. Also after the workout, we're going to hear Amanda's background, amazing dance background. I'm super jealous, and just all kinds of stuff. So I guess let's get going. If people have never done yoga before, this is an okay workout for them to do then, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think people are usually surprised a little bit too that it is actually fairly challenging, that it can be kind of less than what, as a friend of mine always says, breathing in a corner. I'm like, there's a little more to it than that. So we'll move a little bit, and hopefully it should be something that's not too intimidating if you're new. So
can I point out before you start, she is 5.5 months pregnant.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
So yoga is appropriate in pregnancy. I wouldn't say that what we're going to do today is probably appropriate if you've never done it before and you're pregnant. That said, there are prenatal yoga classes in just about every city, so it should be easy if you're looking for a good exercise routine, and you are midway through pregnancy, to look for a yoga class that's specific for pregnancy. So I guess we'll go ahead and start. So go ahead and start standing at the top of your mat. If you're doing it at home, try and take your big toe mounds together and roll your shoulder blades down. Stand up nice and tall, reaching through the crown of your head. We're going to start to warm up. Locate inhale and exhale. So inhale and exhale through your nose. Try not to breathe through your mouth. With your next inhale, take your arms up, touch your palms, looking towards your thumbs. And exhale, dive forward over your legs. With an inhale, take a nice long flat back, fingertips out in front, or you can take your hands to your shins. And then exhale, plant your palms. You're going to step or hop on back to a plank. So you can drop your knees at this point and lower through a modified tricep push-up, or lower all the way down. With an inhale, press into the hands, slide the chest forward, upward facing dog. And exhale, tuck the toes, lift your hips back, downward facing dog. So we'll hold here in down dog for a couple breaths. Downward facing dog, you should be trying to resemble a large triangle. If you're having trouble flattening your back, you can lift your heels or bend your knees a little bit and try and reach your chest towards your thighs. And this may be a lot of work in the upper body. If this is your first time doing yoga, that's totally normal. Know that it gets a little easier, right? From here, you're going to exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, step or walk your feet to your hands, right? You can also hop forward. Inhale, long flat back. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep your arms up, touch your palms, and exhale, take your hands by your side. And again, inhale, sweep the arms up, and exhale, you'll dive forward over the legs. With an inhale, take a long flat back. And with an exhale, you can plant your palms. Again, you can step or you can hop back, right? You can also drop your knees, as I said before, or lower all the way. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Again, holding in your down dog.
Now, are we trying to eventually get our heels flat on the ground?
Yes, eventually. Okay. One day they will go there.
Because mine are kind of high up at the moment.
If you're a runner or a cyclist or anyone that spends a lot of time in any type of athletic activity where your legs are bent, getting heels down is somewhat of a challenge, but not impossible, right? So again, if heels don't touch or if knees are bent, down dog still counts, right?
Okay.
Look out past the hands. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, step walker, hop to the hands, long flat back, and exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Touch the palms and exhale, hands by your side. Samastitihi. We'll go for Surya Namaskar B. So this is going to add a couple pieces. This one moves a little bit quicker, but should be fine for everybody to pace at home. So inhale, bend the knees, drop the hips. Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, long flat back. And exhale, plant the palms again, chaturanga. You're going to step on back. These are tricep push-ups, so you're trying to keep your elbows in next to your sides rather than a normal chest press. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Plant the left foot. You're going to try and step the right foot up toward the hands. Bend into the right knee. Straighten the left leg and look up toward the thumbs, warrior one. Exhale, frame the right foot. Step back and lower. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, lift the hips, down dog. Plant the right foot, step the left foot forward, warrior one. And exhale, frame the left foot, step back and lower. Inhale up, and exhale down. Again, breathing in your down dog. You take a couple breaths here. If down dog is too much, or if any of this ever gets to be too much, you can always drop down to your knees too. And take child's pose, which
That's
looks
what
like
I'm
this.
talking about.
Yeah. And that's one that everybody can do, right?
Yes.
Folks always say that to me. They're like, I can handle that one. I'm like, yeah, that's nice, easy breather, right? So down dog eventually is supposed to be a resting posture, although I know for the first year or so it didn't feel like that for me either.
Yeah, because you can feel it through your arms, right?
Yeah, lots of work. Look out past the hands. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, come on forward. Step, walk, or hop. Long, flat back. And exhale, fold. And then inhale, bend your knees, drop your hips. Utkatasana, chair pose, and come on up to stand. Then take your hands to your hips. You'll step or hop your feet about hips distance. Inhale, look up nice and tall. And exhale, hinge forward. You're going to reach down, grab your big toes with your index and middle finger. So if you have tight backs in the legs, again, you might have to bend the knees a little bit and then try and reach your butt toward the sky. Right? If your legs are straight, you might start to pull your face forward towards your shins. And breathe. And inhale, looking out. You let go of your toes, take the hands to the hips, lift the kneecaps and press into the feet as you come on up to stand. And then you'll step or hop your feet together. Take a deep breath in. Right foot's going to step back. You're going to turn the right toes toward the back of the room. Your left toes will turn in about 45 degrees. Okay? And again, of course, I'm behind Jenny, but I'm going to lead her anyway. So
I'm like, hopefully I can follow directions right now.
You're going to line your right heel up with the arch of the left foot. Okay? Then you'll send the hips toward the camera, reaching out through the right fingertips. Take the right hand down to the right shin. Left arm extends, Trikonasana, triangle pose. So your right hand can rest on your shin, your thigh, your ankle. Eventually it can come down to the floor or the big toe. Right? And you'll breathe.
Is this where somebody might use a block if they had one? Or,
Yes.
Or anything else that they might have lying around to kind of position themselves
block,
upward?
a large book. If you're someone that's got one of those yoga blocks lying around your house and you're not really sure what to do with it, this is a great place to take the block underneath the right hand if the floor is really far away.
Sure.
Right? Inhale, come on up. And second side, left toes forward, right toes in. Start to cut the hips back toward the back wall. Left hand down, right arm extends. Trikonasana, triangle pose. I know every once in a while people will ask me, someone bought me blocks for Christmas and am I supposed to build a fort? What do I do with
Yoga
those?
fort.
Right? So blocks are a great way to make the floor come closer to you.
So it's
if
like you
it's
could
far
go
away.
like right
yeah,
here or
so you
whatever.
take it right underneath your
Okay.
left hand. Breathing. And again, there are lots of different options. If you want to hook your big toe, you can. You can take your hand to the shin or to the thigh. Trying to roll your left hip under the body, looking up toward the top set of fingers.
So left, so like this?
Yes, trying to roll it underneath so that your tush is not pushing back towards your neighbor behind you if you have someone else doing yoga with
Well,
you.
sorry about that, neighbor.
Inhale.
Still working on that.
Come on up. Let's see. Go ahead and turn your right toes toward the back of the room again, left toes in. So exact same stance we just had.
Okay.
You might take the feet a little wider this time. Bend into the right knee. Going to take your right forearm to the top of the thigh. Sweep your left arm down and next to your ear. Parsvakonasana, extended side angle. So start to breathe all the way up the left side of the body. Should be a nice deep stretch. And again, maybe looking up toward the top hand.
A little balance work on this one too.
Yeah, some of these are tricky if you're not used to standing, except for just normally upward.
I don't think anyone's used to standing like this, Amanda.
Right. unless you normally make shapes with your body,
Right.
right? Some of this stuff is a little different. Inhale, come on up. Second side, flip the toes, bend into the left knee, right leg straight, forearm to thigh. You can also take your hand down to the floor on the opposite side of the foot if you're looking for a little bit more work. That said, the floor might be really far away, right? Again, especially if this is your first yoga class. And inhale, start to come on up. Let's see, then from here, you'll step or hop to the top of your mat. We'll move toward a little bit of balance work. Ground down into the left foot. You'll take your right ankle over top of your left knee. So I'll go ahead and do left leg. That way, if you're at home, you'll be on the same side, right? One of those things they teach you in yoga teacher school, right?
Right.
So you bend into the standing leg, almost like you're sitting in a chair, but with no chair, right? So there should be a nice big stretch up the back of the hip. Hands can be at your hips, they can be at your heart. You can take them out in front of you if you want a little more upper body work. Breathe. Try and keep your focus on something unmoving out on the floor in front of you, right?
Don't look at me.
Yeah.
If you're watching this in the video, do not look at me.
If you start looking around, things become much harder. Inhale, come on up. Place the right foot down, second side. Left ankle over the right knee. Bend down into the standing leg.
Okay.
Oh, hips
Feel
might be kind
that.
of tight.
Feel
Yeah.
that right back there.
Breathing. And again, one trick with balance besides pressing into the standing foot is drawing the area below your belly button towards your back. So trying to engage your abdominals, even though it doesn't seem like a pose you would necessarily need ab work. Your core not only helps with things like general abdominal work as we normally think of it, but
Sure.
also with balance as well. Right?
Definitely.
Inhale, come on up. Step the feet together. You'll sweep the arms up and touch the palms. And exhale, fold. Inhale, long spine. And exhale, plant the palms. You'll step, walk, or hop on back, lower down. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And I'm going to sneak a peek at our time real quick. Let's see. Oop, where'd it go?
Oh, that little clock, I know.
Alrighty, cool, let's see. So go ahead and start to look out past the hands. With an exhale, you're going to bend the knees. Inhale, step, walk, or hop forward and have a seat. So you can try and jump to your hands and then sit down.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, which again,
Are we trying to hurt me?
yeah, sometimes good practice. Try and look out and see where they land. They might come part way, right? You can also try and get to your hands, right? If you can get all the way to your hands, you can eventually come through and sit down.
Wasn't
right?
that cool, you guys?
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to
That's
stay
it.
here. Okay,
Not-
so the modified version would go like right
Jump
there.
and have a seat.
And then sit
Exactly, right? You can also walk forward and sit down. So no requisite to come flying forward and kill yourself. So see if you can find your sit bones grounded down. Maybe you rock side to side. If you're like, where are my sit bones? There's two little bones in your butt, right? And you should be able to wiggle enough that you can find them. Take your hands right in front of your hips. Roll your shoulders down your back. You're going to try and lift your chest, flex your feet, and then try and draw the area below your belly button towards your spine. So you can even take your first couple fingers under your belly and try and draw it back, right? Real small isometric movement. At the same time, imagine there's a magnet between those two little sit bones and try and lift it up, right? So you're trying to lift the area of your pelvic floor that's on the mat and draw your low belly towards your back as you breathe. Again, this is a pose that can be very inactive or very active.
I was
right?
just going to say, if somebody's just now watching, they're thinking, what are
you
they doing? Are they doing anything?
Exactly.
But yes, I mean, I can feel it actually like through
Right,
all through my
lots
lower
of
body and
work.
core, yeah.
Start to draw your low belly in. Again, lifting the pelvic floor, flex the feet, keep breathing. And from here, you'll start to lean forward. You're going to grab what you can. So if you can get your big toes, sweet. I know a lot of you at home are like, I probably can't get my big toes today. But you can also grab your ankles, your shins, whatever you've got. You're going to try and hinge at the hips. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, fold. So even though it might be very tempting to come here, right?
So it's like like a flat back almost?
Yeah,
or
you're trying to
version of a
elongate.
flat-
So one thing that helps sometimes is looking at your toes, because even if you're back here, right, if you're looking at your feet, you can't be here, right? So unless, of course, your head comes all the way down to your ankles, in which case you can take your gaze down.
Example A. Example B up here.
And breathing. Again, you want to take about 4 to 5 breaths in each pose. 5 breaths is usually good. And again, there's a long, smooth inhales and exhales through your nose rather than short, hyperventilation type breathing, right? Which I know it's kind of hard when you start to move quicker not to breathe that way, but that's part of the challenge. Inhale, start to come on back up. Let's see, just to stay warm, we'll cross the ankles and take it back through another chaturanga. So you can take your hands forward, start to come to your knees, step back, and again, you can lower down with your knees or no knees. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, lift the hips to downward facing dog. From your down dog, exhale, bend the knees, inhale, step, walk, or hop forward. Again, you can try and hop forward to the feet and take a seat, right? Try not to kill yourself on your mic if you're wearing one. Let's see. Go ahead and take Baddha Konasana. Take the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. So a lot of people have seen this one in gym class and elsewhere, right? I've heard butterfly pose. In yoga, they call this cobbler's pose or bound angle. Right? Trying to open the big toe side of the foot and drop the knees, sit up nice and tall, and maybe hinge forward. Breathing. So again, trying to keep a flat back for this one, which might be something that's a bit of a challenge. If at any point in time it's really hard to sit up straight, you can always elevate your butt a little bit. So again, a yoga block is good for that. Phone book, pillow. Right? Usually something sturdy is a little better than a pillow, but again, let's see how we're doing on time so I don't completely kill you guys first day. Oh, we're still good. Perfect.
Now you were saying about the breathing, you want to breathe through your nose? Mm-hmm. Okay. And start to come on back up. We're going to try one of those little funky step backs. And again, eventually you might float your whole butt off the floor, but today we're just going to step forward a little bit, lean into the hands, make your way back. You'll find that these help keep you warm as you come to seated rather than letting your body get cold. And inhale, up dog. And exhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Breathing. From down dog, look out past the hands. Again, exhale, bend the knees, inhale, hop on forward and have a seat. Let's see, Navasana, boat pose. So you're gonna roll back onto your sacral area, right? So kind of right behind your tailbone, there's a little flat spot where you can balance, right? You're gonna take your hands out next to your legs. If you feel like you're gonna die and that's too much, you can take your hands kind of to your outer knees, right? So you can use bent knees here if you want to be a little harder. You can straighten your legs, right? You're gonna look out toward the toes and breathe. So odd for me to try to breathe just through my nose. So should we keep our mouths closed?
Yeah, if you want to keep your mouth open, you can.
But don't breathe through it?
Yeah, right. We're trying not to be mouth breathers. It's very different trying to breathe just through your nostrils if you're used to breathing through your mouth. Let's see, we'll add a couple little extra half boats here. So you can use your hands if you need to do this. If you don't need them, don't use them. You're going to exhale, open out, look at the toes. I know there's a mic pack back there. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, open out, look at the toes, head and feet off. And inhale up. And exhale down. Again, you can yank yourself up if you need to. One more, exhale down. Inhale, drag yourself up. This time you're going to go down. Look at the belly button if you can. Head and feet off. Breathe.
Oops.
And lower down.
How's your baby doing in there?
Going crazy. And hug your knees into your chest. You'll rock side to side. Loosen up your back. And then take your feet down onto the mat. So we're going to set up for a couple of back bends. So walk your heels in as close to your butt as you can get them. And then start to tuck your shoulders down your back. Start to pull them away from the ears. Have your elbows in next to your side. With an inhale, press into the feet and start to lift the hips into bridge pose. So you're really trying to keep your knees parallel with the hips and the feet parallel with the knees, right? So rather than having everything splayed out, you want everything nice and compacted. Breathing.
It's hard to tell if I'm doing that.
Yeah, it's very hard to see unless you have eyes in your kneecaps, right? Which again is why if you go to a class, a teacher can help you with some of this stuff. Couple more breaths. And pressing into the feet, see if you can squeeze the shoulder blades together and lift the chest. And start to come on down, one vertebrae at a time. Windshield wiper your knees side to side. So just let them flop one way and then the other like windshield wipers on a car. And you'll come back. We'll do one more quick one. Heels in nice and close. Press into the backs of the arms. Inhale, lift. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can always start to walk your arms up underneath you and interlace the fingers, squeezing the shoulder blades together a little bit more. And then start to come on down.
We're definitely going to have to bring one of the guys in next time we have you come on.
Yeah, it's always interesting. It's usually really interesting if people think that yoga's for grandmas or something. Rock the knees side to side.
It is challenging. You know what? I have to say, I thought that for many years, being just in the personal training industry, and then I took a class, and I was like, I can admit when I'm wrong.
Surprising. Start to hug your knees into your chest. You're going to rock up and down the spine, come up to a seated forward fold, and then just fold over the legs. So kind of like we did before, this time just start to let your back muscles relax. You're kind of undoing your back bend with a forward bend. Just let yourself slump forward. And start to roll all the way down onto your back. See, we'll take one quick closing twist. So you extend your left leg on the mat, take your right knee into your left hand, and draw it across the body. Just take a little bit of a twist, maybe looking out over the right fingertips. Start to open up your back.
Am I supposed to be keeping, this shoulder on the ground?
If you can keep them both on the ground, that's great. Yeah, you're eventually trying to, I guess, have them both down. At first, it might
both
be kind
legs,
of floating.
Both
Right. The knee perhaps probably won't touch. But that said, you're just trying to kind of indulge a little bit here. It should feel really good. There shouldn't be any pain or any kind of pressure to push yourself deeper. Come on back through center. Second side, extend the right leg. Left knee pulls in, take it across the body. Little twists like this can be kind of like a chiropractic adjustment almost.
Yeah, the little pop.
Yep. Get a couple little pops in the back and the hips. Start to open you up.
That feels good.
And come on back to center. Let's see, and then we'll take a quick happy baby. So this is a totally silly pose, but it feels really good. So you're going to grab your ankles, maybe your big toes or the tops of your feet, and rock side to side. So you're going to start to loosen up your back. Breathe. Again, if you got a mic pack on in the back. This is
I just
tricky.
took mine off.
Did you?
Yeah.
Breathe, rocking side to side.
Baby.
Again, this is one that you don't see a lot, but it feels really great, right? Again,
yeah,
sometimes
I'm just waiting for if somebody's watching us right now on their computer and they're sitting in their kitchen.
They're going to think it's the wrong type of show, right? And then from there, you'll go ahead and just extend your legs and make sure after you're done practicing, just take a few minutes to rest and do nothing. So the great thing about yoga is you also get a few moments at the end to just close your eyes and relax and do nothing, right? So the ultimate cool down.
Yeah, I like this.
Yep. And you'll stay there for as long as you want. Usually when I practice at home, I try and set a timer. So, unless you want to take a full-on afternoon nap, it's sometimes helpful to set like a 3 to 5 minute timer to make sure you don't spend your whole afternoon on the floor. That said, if you want to take an afternoon nap, take one. Right? But that's
they can continue.
Where we are from yoga.
They can continue lying down while we chat, I suppose. So
yeah, so hopefully you don't snooze through the entire chat, but that is class. That's your nice little intro 20-minute yoga class if you're brand new. So
that was awesome, Amanda.
Cool,
Let's go up here and chit chat because I want people to hear about where they can take your classes and all of that as well. So, and you all, if you're watching right now, you can just stay on the floor. You can continue listening. That's why I sort of switched up the order of the. So I sort of switched up the order of everything, figuring now you can kind of listen to the interview portion. All right, so if you all just did yoga with us, I hope that you enjoyed it. And like Amanda said, you can stay there on the ground, relaxing. We're just going to chat a little bit. Yeah, just relax. I want to say thank you so much to the sponsors of this show. This is a totally free website, totally free webcast. And so the sponsors kind of keep all of this going for our equipment and the website and the whole thing. So Jason Hess of Keller Williams Realty, his information is on my website. website, JennyAnchado.com. Then Vault Denim by Meredith, designer jeans at a discount. Her information is also on there. I also have links to their Facebook pages as well. And then John Welliver, second from Carpenter Realtors, also a sponsor that has recently joined on to the show. So I just appreciate them very much. And if you all are watching and want to be, are interested in being a sponsor, just contact me through the website and we'll go from there. So let's, Amanda, talk about yoga and how you got going in all of this. How did you get started with this?
I kind of actually fell into yoga. I was a dancer for many years, probably like 12 to 15 years through childhood and through my teen years, and then kind of stopped dancing and stopped really doing anything for a couple of years. Went to college, did nothing but went to college, and then a friend of mine signed up for a college yoga class, and she's one of these folks that needs a motivational workout buddy, and I'm sure lots of folks understand it. Yeah, she's like, I won't go if I don't have someone to go with me. So I said, I've never done yoga. I've heard a lot about it. Sounds like fun. So I signed up for the class. I figured I needed an elective, and I loved it. And after that class ended, I sought out more yoga through local studios and kind of just dove in headfirst. Started going 6-7 days a week. Knew I'd found something special, and a couple of years after that did my teacher training, and I've been teaching for several years now locally, and really like it, and have been lucky enough to be able to kind of carve out what can be called a living, I guess, doing this. So,
that's awesome.
You're lucky enough to be able to do what you love, then you're a pretty lucky person.
For sure. And Joffrey Ballet, for anybody who is, I was reading on your website a little bit, anybody who's familiar with the dance world.
Yeah, they're a bigger name. I did.
It's pretty remarkable. That's awesome.
Yeah, I did a couple summer programs with them. So you never danced professionally or anything, but got to where I was close to being semi-pro, meaning where I was doing auditions and things to perhaps eventually do it, and then kind of decided
that's huge just to be within that realm.
Yeah, not for me. Yeah, and it's one of those things. Whereas yoga is something you can do your entire life and kind of will age with you. Dancing is not.
Yeah,
so ballet is kind of it's a young person's game, definitely, by 25 you're elderly. So
yep.
I'm like, I'd be retired by now anyway at 30. So
now, I mentioned at the beginning that you are 5.5 months pregnant, and we were talking a little bit about the fact that if somebody's already doing yoga, this would be a totally appropriate workout for them to do. But if somebody is, it might not be something you want to start.
Yeah, I'd say what we just did, some pieces of it would probably be fine. I mean, it really depends on where you are fitness-wise. If you're someone that's in fairly decent shape, most of what we just did is probably fairly safe. Spare maybe a few things like, you got to be careful with some twisting, but in general, most of the standing postures and things like that would be fine. That said, if you're unsure about where you are as far as if you're someone that would be considered, experienced, I guess, enough in yoga to kind of stick with your practice, look for a prenatal class. Or if you're somebody who's totally new to yoga and has absolutely no experience, yoga is a great type of exercise to be doing when you are pregnant. Even if you're someone that has done nothing up until 7.5, 8 months. I've talked to people who are like that, who are like, oh man, I've been doing nothing and now my feet are swelling. And have found a prenatal class and have been able to stick with it. So there's definitely yoga for everyone of all, and I mean that goes for if you're a little older too. I mean, it doesn't mean my mom is 63 and started doing yoga a couple of years ago and does it in the morning in her living room.
Yeah, Mom.
In front of TV. So
that's great.
It's for everybody. It doesn't have to necessarily be something that's reserved for the super bendy set or the super fit set.
You, however, you guys have. I'm going to link up Amanda's website to my website into this show, so you guys can look at. You are ridiculous. I meant to have you demonstrate some of these crazy moves, but she has these pictures on her website, and it'll make you feel like I better never walk into a yoga class if this is what it's supposed to look like, because I can't do that. But explain. I mean, that's obviously not true. Anybody can get into it, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the great thing about yoga is there's always someplace else to go. So there's always something new to learn. Meaning, you can do this for can be a life practice. You can do it for 40 years and there will still be something new to do. So, you know, just when
Well,
you
I
think
wasn't worried about maxing out. I
Right.
was worried about looking like a fool in class.
just when you think you've done everything you can possibly do, there's something else
Sure.
to learn that's going to take another couple of years or whatever. You know, and I mean, there's something to be said about not being able to accomplish an entire discipline in one day. It doesn't get boring. So if you're someone that tends to be kind of short attention span, there's always something new to learn. And it's really what all the fun bendy moves are, is just new stuff that I've learned as I've kept going. You know, that said, for somebody that can't touch her toes yet, yoga will help. I hear all the time, I'm not flexible, I can't do yoga. Yoga will make you flexible.
Sure.
That's the reason to go.
That's the reason why you start.
So just because you don't walk in being able to stick your leg behind your head, we can work on that. Or we can work on just starting with touching your toes.
Yeah, I'm still working on the put my leg on like a backpack thing. I have not figured that out yet. And the reason why is because I only go once a week, once every other week. And you were saying in order to really make progress, if you're wanting to make progress, how many days a week would you say?
You know, I mean, there's kind of a competing school of thought, but I know that I've found that when people are brand new to it, if you do yoga at least, 2, maybe 3 days a week, you'll start to see smaller amounts of progression, meaning you'll say, hey, I used to not be able to do this thing that I can now do, versus going once a week, especially if you're still doing a lot of other activities, like for say, if you're a runner, if you're doing any yoga, it is excellent for you. Yeah. At the same time, if you really want to improve your flexibility and you're only doing yoga once a week, you might not see quite as much as you'd like. But that said, for some people, that's how they start. I have lots of students who started doing once a week, at a corporate class at work because it was free and it was something to do during their lunch hour, and now have worked up to doing 4 days a week. So, it really, there's kind of a different path that everyone takes, and it's trying to find what works best for you and is most convenient with the rest of your life to make it fit.
Yeah. I think that's a good transition, because earlier before the show, we were talking about Josh, and I was the guy who's been kind of the client of the show, and I was saying, the reason why I want to bring people like you in and other instructors, other trainers, their teachers, is because I want people to find like their fitness passion, whatever that may be. I was saying, I love to dance. You grew up dancing, so I was like, you got to try Zumba. That might be something that connects with you. Yeah. Or, and it took me a long time to open up to yoga. So there's always just something different. So as you're watching the show, I mean, if you tried yoga and you were like, this is so not my thing, look at some of the past episodes. Maybe you'll see a workout that you love or don't love, or maybe this was your thing, and you can track down Amanda and try one of her classes. But we're talking about Josh because that's sort of what was the client of the show. You guys met him at the beginning. He had a long way to go. He's in his mid-20s, more than 450 pounds, so just on the brink of having some major health complications. So we brought him onto the show to train him. I was training with him during the week, giving him a program, everything like that. And you all saw me confront him a couple weeks ago. I just said, hey, you gotta do the work. And the reason why I'm telling this to you at home is because the same goes for you. If you're watching the show and not doing the workout, then that's okay. Maybe do the workout next time. Maybe, put it up there on the screen. But I think for most people, when it comes to fitness, if it's a dire situation, which is essentially why I'm motivated to help people with this, is for their health, you have to hit your breaking point. And I think that Josh was not there yet, so he missed our session this week, and I said, we're done.
That's too bad. We could have got him in here doing some stretching. But
I know. I think I think he would have liked it. And maybe he's watching right now, and if he is, I want him to know that as much as I said the very first day he came in, I care about his health so much. I care about him as a person. He's just a hilarious guy, so much fun. I loved working with him. But he's got to hit that point where he wants to do it for himself. And the same goes for anybody else who's watching right now too. It's like, I can't make you do it. I can't make you want to eat nutritious foods. I can't make you want to get up and move or walk or practice yoga or any of that. So, and just FYI, part of Josh's deal was that we would be able to talk about him on the show. So, of course, we've never talked about it as student or client, but I just wanted to keep everybody apprised of the situation. And if you see him on Facebook, or if you see him out around town, just support him, encourage him, and know that I'm still there for him as a friend and there for advice too. So what we may do coming up in the future, near future, is have a little contest and have everybody kind of send in their stories of why they want to get in shape, why they would like to have a free personal trainer, which is what Josh had, and also work with a dietitian. So we'll work that in somewhere.
That sounds exciting. Contests are fun.
Contests are fun. I agree. You get all kinds of crazy stories and pictures. Now, tell me, if people want to practice with you, how can they contact you, or how, your private lessons and everything?
I think you're going to link up probably this site to mine. But my website is www.amandamarkland, MARKLAND, just like it sounds, yoga, all one word, .com. Or you can just Google Amanda Markland or Amanda Markland Yoga or Amanda Markland Indie.
And you're on Twitter.
To show up. Yeah, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. You can find me on either. Feel free to. I have a Facebook business Amanda Markland Yoga page and then a personal page. Either one. If you
social
add me.
media yogi.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of one of those things. Everybody's all online these days. You got to be there.
Yes.
But I'm on Twitter as well. And yeah, you can always hit me up through the website, through Twitter, through Facebook. I have classes at Invoke Yoga and Pilates downtown, where Jenny's been several times, as well as I teach in the Greenwood area. I have a rental space right near Community South Hospital, and those are classes run specifically by me, so you will get me for sure if you show up. If you don't like me, I'm sorry. I'm the only one down there, so too bad. But anyway,
go with somebody else.
But yeah, it'd be it's always great to try something else. There's kind of a idea, part of the philosophy behind yoga. There was a famous teacher who said 99% practice, 1% theory. So again, it's that whole idea of you have to get out and do. You can talk about it all day long. You can have all the junk in your house, the mats, the blocks, the straps, the cute yoga pants, and if you're not doing it, it doesn't matter. So
I could have sworn that my cute yoga pants were totally working.
Make you rock that pose. So.
And I was going to ask you also about what type of yoga you just was that a certain type that we just did, or
that was probably what we did is a typical class. And if you're newer and you're wondering what to expect, most beginning yoga classes are at least an hour long. So what we did was just 20 minutes. That said, if you're working more one-on-one with a trainer and it's somebody who's doing a shorter vignette, that's what you're going to get. A public class, or even I am available for private instruction as well. Usually I start my privates at an hour. And that's just because you get kind of a more well-rounded experience with a minimum of an hour. Some classes are 75 minutes, some are 90. I teach Ashtanga yoga and Vinyasa yoga, which are both kind of more physically demanding styles. They move a little bit quicker.
I like that. I love that.
Yeah, and they're good for the kind of the ADHD type of person. If you're somebody who really can't sit still and think that yoga is too much, just standing here and breathing and not moving, it's really good for someone who kind of has trouble staying focused because you're only holding poses for 5 breaths at a time. As you can see, we were moving around a lot, so it's a little bit more demanding than, what I think people think a lot of times when they think stereotypical yoga, sitting in a corner, eyes closed, doing breath work.
Right.
That's obviously a big part of it too. But yeah, I would expect, if you're brand new, to have a little bit of a longer class than what we just did. Although a beginner's class will probably look somewhat like what we just did. Some of it will be familiar. A beginner's vinyasa class or a basics class would probably look somewhat similar, or even like an intro to Ashtanga or beginning Ashtanga class. Both those styles are fairly comparable. There are some, again, it's like when you're someone who's newer to yoga, there's so many different kinds. It can be totally confusing.
And you all say these words that nobody knows.
No one knows,
like,
right? They're Sanskrit.
I remember chaturanga, and I always wanted to just laugh.
Right.
But people don't do that in class. Highly inappropriate.
Right.
So the terminology, everything is like a different world. But I would say that overall, once you get past that, from just a perspective of somebody who has been in the fitness world forever, but not in the yoga world, it's intimidating to go into that first class. But once you do, it's very welcoming. I've never been to a place where I felt like, oh my gosh, I have to run out. I have to get out of here quick.
Totally. Yeah, everybody make you feel welcome. I think everyone's terrified their first day. And I always tell other students that, remember how scared you were your first day? That's how they feel, So I think, I was kind of the same way. I was, as I tell people, I did not come out of my mother's womb knowing how to do all this stuff. Like I at one point was a yoga novice who kind of showed up and was like, what are they doing? Okay, what is that? I've never heard that word before. And again, don't let, the Sanskrit terminology and stuff scare you. It can seem very confusing, but really what it means is just fast yoga versus slower yoga versus yoga where you're only breathing, yoga where you're moving, yoga where you're meditating. This style of yoga, if you're curious about the meditation question, a lot of people ask me, isn't yoga meditation? what we're doing is kind of a moving meditation, meaning that the idea of one-mindedness and focus kind of comes through movement, which I think anyone who does any other type of fitness would tell you that when you're on an elliptical or you're on a bike, you're also focused in one spot. So it's just a very different way of getting there. So rather than sitting in one place and trying to keep it, we're moving and trying to kind of find that moving meditation by connecting with our breath. And again, it's the whole idea of the inhale and exhale and continuing to breathe and kind of letting that be the vehicle for the practice. So if you stop breathing, not good, right? I think we can all agree on that. And I think the hardest concept for folks to get is that, you can really tell a lot about how you're practicing by listening to your breath, meaning if your breath is labored, if it's shortened, your body is doing a lot more work, or it maybe is doing too much. So, just by listening to how your breath sounds, and if your inhales and exhales are a little bit strained, you can tell if something is maybe inappropriate or not right, So yoga really kind of focuses on that breath and movement connection, and Vinyasa and Ashtanga yoga specifically focus on breath and movement and trying to link them together in a way that's harmonious and kind of leads us to that other place of, I guess, central focus that we're looking for. So people get very confused about that whole little meditation thing. Yeah.
Amanda Markland, thank you. I knew you'd be a good person to come on
here.
Hey,
I try.
I knew that you'd be a good person to have you come on here. We'll work on that, getting my leg on the backpack thing. And we'll link up her website so you guys can check out all of her crazy poses.
Totally.
Something to aspire to. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you got a great workout out of this. We are here 1 p.m. Eastern Time every Saturday, and throughout the week I post recipes, I post workout ideas, I post whatever during the week on the website. So check back JennyAnnChando.com and we'll have more content for you. Have a great weekend, and we will see you soon.
Bye.